Hello, fantasy football friends, to this IDP Dime Drop edition. My name is Gary, aka the IDP tipster of Gridiron Ratings. You can find me at IDP tipster on Twitter. And joining me over the first time on an IDP Dime Drop after doing quite a few of these over the years is my good friend Johnny the Greek of the IDP guys. How you doing this morning, John?
Good, man. I'm on vacation this week, so things are good. We've been chatting a bit. How you doing? How are things?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Staying busy. Got a lot of things going on with all the season getting ready to start, which I'm sure you're ramping up things too.
Oh yeah, coals in the fire. Many coals in the fire.
Right. I'll tell you what, folks, what we're going to go over today is some MFL or MyFantasyLeague.com ADPs for the IDP. And we're going to just, kind of talk through this. We've been in a draft. John's had us in for, I don't know, 2-3 weeks. It's a long one, folks. So what I'm going to do here is, for right now, before we start those ADPs, I'm going to let John explain a little bit about the league and everything. And it's actually for great calls and such. But there you go, John. Tell them about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing a bunch of Seahawks Dan, who anyone that's on IDP Twitter is familiar with Seahawks Dan, sets up these autism eliminator challenges every year, where it's on MFL, it's best ball, and the team with the lowest score each week gets eliminated until we have two at the end, and they win a cash prize. And then so it's like half of the donation to get in goes to Autism Speaks, half goes to the cash prize at the end. But full disclosure, almost everyone donates their prize if they win to Autism Speaks as well. I did last year when I got second. The first place winner did the same. Most of us in there right now have said, just donate it if I win.
So we said it right off the top when we all joined. Yep.
No one wants the cash. It's all about the charity here. But it's really cool because it's the way Dan set up the scoring. There is no one strategy. It's a variety of strategies can get you there. Last year I took Nick Bosa as my first pick, going with my normal approach of positional scarcity, defensive line first, yada yada yada. Well, we know what happened to him game 1 or 2. He was gone immediately. But what happened was, because I'm a degenerate with corners, I took enough good corners to float me for the year and end up getting second place. So it's like all these different strategies can work great. There's, oh my God, what is there, like 12 or is it 16 of us? There's a ton of us in there.
18. You forgot 18? Yes.
18. Yes. Okay, so there's 18 players in there, and I recruited 90% of them. I went out to Twitter and said, I need the most degenerate, ridiculous IDP people on the planet. Come join this league. It's going to be a bloodbath. And so we got them. And it's been wild. So you've got 11 starters, 30 positions total. You need 1 DT, 1 DE, 1 linebacker, 1 safety, and 1 corner per week. That's guaranteed. You have to have that. Anything else is a flex. Anything else at all. So, and the scoring is pretty balanced. We've got DT and CB premium to make up for the fact that they don't score as heavily, right? Like a good day for a defensive tackle is a handful of tackles and a tackle for loss. That's fine. Same thing with corners. If they get a pass defense and a handful of tackles, that's a great day for a corner. So Dan has balanced the scoring across the board. So We've got a ton of different strategies going on here. And when we figured this would be great fodder to talk about today, because yes, there is ADP for IDP out there, many different sites, many different versions. And quite frankly, I mean, me and Gary have talked about this. It's wrong. It's wrong. You shouldn't be taking Darius Leonard and Devin White first overall. That's just wrong. It's a bad idea. We've got this is ADP from site writers and rankers and people that were handpicked to get in this thing that have been doing this for years. So I figured if we looked at this might give us a better picture of maybe more accuracy of what that should look like.
Yep. Yeah, it's deep. Of course, the only thing you had to do was mention the calls for me and invite me as you did. And I was in there, but once I got in there and I seen 18 teams and 30 round, folks, this is 30 rounds of nothing but IDP. This is an IDP only league. So, and as he mentioned, with everybody in here with us, or who is involved in this with us, it's got some really interesting ADP to talk about. And hopefully we're going to turn this into, helping you out on my fantasy league a little bit, because the odds are this is within range of what you would probably be looking at. So, but we're going to cover a few, I guess at first, John, let's see, we discussed this. So me and John's very informal. We didn't write anything down. We are winging the shit out of this. So let's start off with the overall number one pick. Actually, let's talk about this top 5. Actually,
yeah. So I think this was interesting. So John Macri had the first pick. He's a PFF writer, ranker, solid dude in the IDP Twitter universe. And he told me that if we talked about this offline, and he said if he was picking with his brain, he would have gone Donald because of positional scarcity, DT premium, and that's like the correct first pick for this league. But he's a Cleveland Browns fan and a homer, so he took Garrett, which is perfectly acceptable, right? Like, there's also scarcity there. That's probably your DE1 for the season.
Don't forget, folks, in this one here, this particular league, you've got DT and DL kind of japped up there. I mean, not japped up in a bad way either. I mean, it's
in a good way.
There, right? Exactly. And it probably wouldn't be this far down. I might, if it wasn't favoring the defensive lineman so much, I probably might have. If it was even close, I would have still took maybe Garrett or a defensive lineman. I might have took Buckner, to tell you the truth. I don't know about you. I don't know. Buckner has just moved up my ranks. I think he's going to have a good season again this year too. Donald worries me a little bit, but that was a great pick. I just wanted to clarify, everybody, just to make sure. But there's a lot of play in this. Like John mentioned, the position scarcity comes into factor too. So, and a lot of these people that if you were to check out the league, you would see there's some strategy behind all this. I'll go right ahead. So you like that pick? I did too.
Oh yeah, I love that pick. Yep. If I were him, I would have done something similar. That or Donald. It probably would have been Donald if it was me, but either or is beautiful.
Right,
yep.
Right.
We had an interesting number 2 pick though, going Jamal Adams, second overall. This was a gentleman out of England. One of the few I did not invite to the league personally, but still solid dude. Really knows his stuff, but that was a head scratcher for me a little bit. What'd you think of that? Jamal Adams, second overall. When you got Donald is still on the board, defensive lineman on the board, safeties are easy to replace and find.
I'm not sure he would have been in my top 10. I don't know in this situation if I would have had a safety anywhere near that top 10.
Same, absolutely. So that was a bit of a head scratcher.
Probably the number one option at safety heading into this year. So it's not like completely off the rails, but with this scoring mechanism that we have going on, he might have been lucky to make top 12.
Yeah. So that kind of threw a monkey wrench into things immediately. But what that did was that allowed Z-Mags and Eric H. Haroff to go Chase Young, Aaron Donald, 3-4. So, I mean, I'm with that for sure.
Yeah. I'm a Ohio State fan, Washington fan, but I'm not taking Young that high. Not in a redraft best ball. Oh, I don't know if we mentioned that, folks, but you probably did, didn't you?
Yeah. Okay. Redraft.
Right. So for this year, no. I mean, dynasty, sure, but no. I would have probably, as far as defensive linemen, I would have either wanted Garrett, Donald, Buckner. Possibly, of course, I think Hunter returns with a vengeance, so maybe Hunter. Before I went with Young, I mean, I think he has a good year. Don't get me wrong. I just think that there's other options there I might have looked at first. Right.
I mean, Z-Mags obviously knows his stuff, but if that were me at 3, with Donald still there, Buckner still there, I might have gone that route, but. Still, having essentially a top 5 most likely guaranteed top 10 defensive end out the
Right.
gate to start this is excellent. I mean, that's what you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pick was not wrong, folks. So if you hear us talking about it out there, enjoying this league or whatever, we're not saying this is wrong, or I'm not saying this is wrong.
No.
I'm just saying my preferences. So,
Right.
I mean, he would be up there. I mean, it's a solid pick. It's definitely, I mean, as good as any pick he could have made, probably.
Yeah, and we don't know how this thing's gonna go either. So
Right.
we could be I would go Donald first overall. He could blow his ACL week 1, and we could all look like idiots. So
Yeah, right.
Who knows, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's just our preference we're talking here.
Yep.
Fifth pick was Brian Burns. I actually saw something interesting on Brian Burns yesterday. So guess what position he is on Yahoo?
Linebacker.
Yeah.
Yay.
Not great.
No, because he's not a linebacker. They need to update that.
Yeah, not good. But anyway, so yeah, Jeremy went Brian Burns 5th. Yeah, I mean, I get it. It makes sense. But Banter Blitz here going Buckner 6th. I think that's what I would have done. With Donald off the board, I would have gone Buckner probably.
Yeah. I like Burns, not nowhere. I mean, he would have been after Young, like I've mentioned. I would have probably gone, Garrett, Donald, such, but whatever. Buckner, Hunter probably before this, but again, it's not. He's still up there. If he has, if he kicks it up a notch, we could be looking at a top 5 option easy too this year. So yep. There's nothing wrong with that. We might as well keep rolling, man. Let's do top 10.
Yeah. So we got Daniil Hunter, 107. This is my friend Peter Randall who picked this gentleman out of New Zealand or Australia. But solid guy. Yeah, so he got Hunter that late. That's solid. I like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it definitely what I would have done if I was not further down on the list. You know.
So now we're getting into the linebackers a little bit, and so full disclosure, I'm the pick after this one, and I wanted to go Nick Bosa, but I was having flashbacks to last year where I took Nick Bosa and then lost him immediately. So I decided to change up a little bit. So we had obviously Devin White went first for linebackers at 108. I took Roquan at 109 instead of Darius Leonard. I just feel like Roquan's going to have a better year. But pick your poison. And then Leonard went 10, Schobert 11, Wagner 12. What's your take on all that?
It's to me a little early on Schobert. Maybe I don't expect much more than what he got last year. I mean, I think he's hit his ceiling down there as long as Miles Jack's on the field with him.
Right.
So he might be a little bit high there, but other than that, I mean, I don't have any glaring disagreements, that's for sure. I would have went Leonard first linebacker off the board, but that's again preference.
Yep. Yeah, and you're really just we're talking a tackle or two difference a game max between all these guys, right here. So
and this speaks volumes, and folks, of the people that we've got in this league and the scoring format set up, because I mean we're not looking at the first linebacker coming off the board, until what was it, 9?
8 or 9, yeah.
8 or 9. So then you got 3 in a row to finish out the top 10, whatever it is here. But that's, telling you it's a little heavy on the defensive line. But hey, these are maybe not the formats that you're going to see if you go default on any sites, believe me. But this still should help us decide on the ADP of where these guys should go. What you might be able to pull off when it comes to kind of think of more of a rankings at this particular point, I would think. But this looks good. Who did you? I don't know if we're going to continue or not. I was going to mention. We'll run through them real quick. So Bobby Wagner went 12. Martinez went 13. Cunningham 14. Boza 15, and then I went for old man Pierre Paul at the 16th.
He had a great year last year. Yeah, he's always solid.
Purely a redraft, hoping that he can at least duplicate what he did last year.
Right.
Purely, and he's not dual designated. Oh no, wait a minute. Sorry, getting crossed up with a different site.
I hear you. Yeah.
Right, right.
He's a DE here, which is perfect.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I went ahead and swung for the fence for one more off of him. And Joey Bosa went right after me. I took Pierre Paul. So that option was there, but I don't know. They're getting ready to change
I'm with
that
you.
scheme.
I'm with you. I'm not. So I'm worried about the scheme change, and I'm worried that he just can't stay on the field. Like he cannot stay on. It's always something with this guy. Always something.
Yeah, his ceilings have dropped a little, I think, too, over the last couple of years. He's wore out.
Yeah.
He come in young, into the league young, and I mean, if we look, I don't think he's but like 26 years old or something.
Yeah, yeah. He just got his first big deal after. Yeah,
right. It seems like he's been in the league for 10 years, but he hasn't been, folks. He's 5, something like that.
Yeah, and I like Brian Douglas's last pick of the first round here, Quinnen Williams at 1.18. I think that's solid. I think that's probably your DT3 this year pretty easily. You know,
Yeah. I was a little concerned back in the early off season about his injury or whatever. But no, he seems to be on track. I don't quote me. I haven't looked at any camp news. Heaven forbid. I did not have any luck yesterday. I've been wanting to write an article, John, for like 2 weeks on this certain matter, and I went in and started to do it last week. Got a lot of stuff set up. Then I got busy, so I revisited it yesterday and started looking up camp news. There's a lot going on right now. Just want to throw out a little caution, folks. You know, there are camp darlings. There are guys that just, start hot and then everybody kind of settles in. Just, take the camp reports seriously, but at the same time with a grain of salt. Don't make any major moves just yet off of your rosters. It might come back and bite you in the butt. Let the process work. We go through this every year.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, John. So I don't know if you have one prepared for me or not. What do you think might have been a biggest steal? Who in here possibly?
Yeah. So first round. Or
sure. Yeah. No, let's go first round then.
Okay, so first round steal. I think. Well, I mean, the first obvious one is Donald falling to 1.04. In this format, I feel like he should have been 101 pretty easily. It's DT premium. The positional scarcity of DT is the biggest one. Like the fall off is the greatest. There's only a handful that are excellent, and then you've either got an advantage there or you don't. It's that simple. So I think that stood out pretty good. Hunter falling to 107 was pretty huge. Getting Nick Bosa 115 was solid, and then Quinnen Williams 118. I think that's great. What about you? What do you think?
Well, you just pretty well covered it. I mean, there's not much I could do but name them off basically the way you ran with it. So, I mean, I think out of the whole top 10, the only questionable one that we came up with was is Jamal Adams going, second. I'm not really sure if anything about this first round is really wrong. I think Martinez, considering that Scobert went, where he did, I think maybe there might be some good value there taken for this year, at least for the 13th overall. It was Blake Martinez. I think he could have gone before, maybe even before Bobby Wagner. I'm a little bit concerned. Bobby always, he's getting older and everything, but you got Jamal Adams there now. And I'm wondering, as Wagner gets a little older here, with Jamal Adams being schemed into the, backfield as much as he is, if they do it again or start out like they did last year. Basically, they did back off after Adams got hurt a little bit, but they were sending him like crazy that first game or so until he got hurt. But I think Martinez might be a steal.
All right. Let's. You want to shift? We'll talk about our strategy, our picks here.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went JPP 1. I went Roquan 1. Who was your 2 pick? Who'd you take 2?
Let's see, Buda Baker.
Nice. I did the same. I went safety. I went Jesse Bates.
Yeah. Just I think at that point I was looking at it, taking the best value off the board, best player available. In my sense, when I made that pick, yeah, we're talking weeks ago, folks. So it's like a flashback to remember this because we've been drafting forever. We are wrapping up though. We're down to like the last in 3 weeks. We're down to like the last 4,
4 or 5 rounds.
Yep, 4 or 5.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I went safety as well, and because where I landed in the draft order, I couldn't get that top DE or DT. I decided I was going to shift my strategy and try and go as much linebacker and safety towards the front as possible, because besides that, you need that one DT and that one DE every week, but beyond that, everything's a flex. So I figured all the flexes could be linebackers, safeties, and corners. I'll talk about that later, but I just needed someone to give me something at DT and DE, because I wasn't going to be strong there just because of where I was in the draft. So lean into that with Jesse Bates too.
Where were you at in the second round? Let's see, 210.
210 for Mr.
That's
Bates.
actually, to me, I would have took. So right before you was Patrick Queen. I would have took Bates over him. Probably Payne. I'm not really 100. Yeah, I'm sure I would have Payne. And Everson Grivison. I don't know about that pick there.
I think that was a timeout. Yeah, but,
okay.
But wow, that was
Even
not great.
To it, sweet. Yeah. I mean, I can see why some of these guys are in here, some swinging for the fence, but you probably got really good value there at 210. I was in the same way. That's why I went safety. I mean, Chris Jones went right before me. I'm not a big fan of Chris Jones, but even if he was still left on the board, once Quinton Williams went off the board a few picks before, the
tier dropped. Yeah,
big time. Yep. Where'd Leonard Williams go?
He's a DE in here, I believe.
Oh, that's right.
So that sucks.
Right. Yep. I'm sure I went hunting for him because I actually, folks, that might have been my other pick in this format if he was a defensive tackle.
Right. And I thought the same thing. I was looking at that, and he wasn't a DT, but I ended up getting my first DT at 410 with Grady Jarrett, and I was pretty happy with that. That's like, part of that second tier with Simmons and Jones and those guys. So that was fine.
Yeah, Garrett slipped down a little bit on rankings, right? He had a terrible year last year. He didn't have any help around him, no defensive end, no edge rushing, nothing. It was just him and a bunch of bodies out there on the defensive line. So they really keyed off on him and held him down a little bit last year. Possibly maybe we see a resurgence this year, but yeah, that's good value. That's good value.
Yeah. Who'd you take third?
Third, let's see. I went with Jalen Smith, my first linebacker, and in my opinion, at the time, best one available. I think it was all right, but right before me, there's Leonard Williams at DE.
Yeah.
That could have been that could have been my target, possibly. I'm not 100% sure. I like Williams again this year. You?
Yeah, I like him as well. I just feel like as a DT, his value is
better.
Way better.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So no, I'm with you. I went Deion Jones 3, Grady Jarrett 4, and then realized that they were both on the same team after I'd already clicked submit, and was like, shit. That's not going to be a fun bye week, but whatever. It is what it is.
It's funny because I think I'm flashing back, and I think my pick 3 might have been a little bit of a hit of panic mode because all the upper linebackers have been taken off. You were getting down previously to me. I might have actually got good value at Smith if we look at it, because I like Smith better than Murray. I like him better than Simmons. I like him better than Jones. I like him better than Mosley. These are linebackers that were taken before. So I think, Kendricks, David Lamont. So I might have was like, okay, I got to get at least one anchor linebacker off the board before there's none.
Right.
Because I'm seeing right before, like I said, Leonard Williams come off, but right after our friend Tripp, he went, where'd he go? Yeah, he got Sam Hubbard at 317.
Yeah.
I think that's in this format. Now, remember, folks, 18 teams, 18 picks around. 3 rounds later, outside of the top 50, he got a hold of Sam Hubbard in this format. I think is great value. I like Sam Hubbard really having a better year this year. He's coming back healthy. He was injured last year. He didn't play at 100%, once he got injured. And I like that pick a lot.
Yeah, and he still led the league as a defensive end in combined tackles, missing several games. Like that's the second or third year in a row he's done that. And in this format, you get extra points as a defensive end for everything, for your tackles, for whatever. It's so this is individual position scoring because MFL is not baby IDP and it allows you to do those things.
Exactly.
So yeah, each position has its own scoring. Defensive ends get, instead of 2 points a tackle, it's 2.5 or something. So that helps Hubbard even more.
Yeah. I like it a lot. Yeah, I was laughed at sometime last week on getting defensive because the way I feel about Sam Hubbard, I kind of compare him to a TJ Watt undergrad. Because that's what carries TJ Watt is that high ceiling for tackles, that combined tackle. He's consistently up there along with his sacks. And I like that aspect because when Hubbard plays, his ceiling, per snap, he averages that great ceiling for tackles. So it's just a matter of, okay, we get yourself together because we know the tackles are there. Get some more sacks, get into those double digits and stay. And he's just a poor man's TJ Watt. I think they're about the same age. It's in ones, but Hubbard is not LB like TJ Watt's probably a linebacker in here. We was talking about another site or something. So, but either way, I think that's what Hubbard is going to end up being, is like a poor man's TJ Watt at the DE position.
Right, because so Hubbard's going to give you I've looked at this the last couple of years. When you look at his combined tackles and then divide them by 16 games or whatever, 17 this year, it's about 3 solo, 2 assists a game. So most scoring formats, that's 8 points a game. To start with, that's awesome, right? That's a perfectly acceptable game for a defensive end that doesn't land a sack. That is a more than acceptable game. If he gets the sack, that's the cherry on top, and you got a great game, there.
Yep. I like that pick a lot. He got a good value there.
Yeah.
Now I wish I wouldn't have freaked out because I could have turned around and went linebacker the next time. I should have done that. I got Hubbard in a lot of my leagues this year.
Yeah.
In the early off season, we actually started with the IDP incentive on the MFL, and I think we drafted it in February, and I got him for beans, if I remember right. It was like he was a kind of a forgotten man at the time, but he is not going for that now. You're going to have to pay for him a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, so that looks good. What else we got here? So I actually like this value. So after Grady Jarrett, I got Shaq Thompson at 509. So 509 with 18 people drafting is stupid late. And that's a full-time starting linebacker for a team that's got a questionable offense, which I know, there's been this pushback on Twitter that doesn't matter. Well, what factors are we looking at then, right? We're splitting hairs with all this. So if I can split the hairs and say this team has a shitty offense, so they might spend a few more minutes a game on the field, I'll take that. that. That's a positive factor for me. I'll take it. So that I like that. And then I got Malcolm Jenkins, which was nice at 6'10". I like that value too. Yeah, what's your 5'6" look like?
Well, the one thing I'm noticing before I do that is that, we started having a big run because of this scoring that you have on the defensive tackle. We had a big run. We have names mixed in with names in a more of a balanced format, I suppose, or what they're using now. You wouldn't have seen Shaq Thomas drop like this. You know what I mean? In my opinion, I mean, in some standard leagues, you would have never got him there. You had, what was that, 5'9"?
Yeah, 5'9".
So I mean, you got Delvin Thompson coming off before Shaq Thomas. You have, you had to run on. These are the defensive tackle runs. You had Wilkins come off before him. Flowers, that could be kind of. There's some more up here. We got QBs coming off the board, folks, in the 4th round. Do yourself a favor.
CB. Yep.
Yeah. Cornerback. Yeah. Folks, let those guys slide. You know, be happy when everybody else starts taking them off the board. That creates better value for you when you see other people taking cornerbacks off the board. Somebody just fell.
Yeah, that's too early. That's too early.
Way too early. Yeah, I don't care if they were the top cornerback last year.
Right. Trying to predict the corners repeating is
right.
I mean, it rarely happens at linebacker. Never mind corner.
Right.
Never mind corner. Jesus.
Right. So yeah, there's some. Yeah, you would have never seen Shaq Thomas probably fall this far in some other formats and be. I guess more my point is being next to Dalvin Tomlin of Minnesota. That would have, or even Christian Wilkinson. I don't think.
Yeah, that wouldn't be normal. Right.
No. It started getting scarce there. So, okay. Well, I got to might as well talk about him. So in the 5th, I took, I'm going to hack that up. That's why you wanted me to name this guy. Elman. Okay. Defensive tackle for New Orleans Saints. What is it? What's his name?
Oh, David Onyemata.
Yeah. I picked it, and 2 days later he
got suspended. Yep.
It might have been 2 hours later he got suspended. Yep. I can't remember.
And I got his replacement like 7 rounds later, Shy Tuttle for 6 games.
I was seeing that. I was just mad. I just avoided the whole situation. Right. I was just like, okay, because I felt at the time that they're looking at him down there. They're expecting him to really step up as a full-time starter. And he was
fine last year.
Due to break out. And apparently it's because he was juicing. I don't know.
Yep.
So, we'll see how he comes back. I mean, hopefully he still got some of whatever it was. But as it is, I threw away my 5th round pick for the first, 6 years or 6 games. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that he'll come back though, and you'll have a solid defensive tackle. Rankins is gone; he went to the Jets. I mean, Shy Tuttle doesn't play that much. I just got him because they'll replace him for 6 games. That's a warm body. Who else is there, defensive tackle wise?
And he was meant in the 5th round. He was meant to be my, I had to draft him for my anchor defensive tackle. So because I'd missed out on all these others, if I remember right, there was a situation I was thrown off of my normal picking at 116 in an 18-team league, folks. I've done 32-man team leagues. It was easier to figure out my strategy beforehand because it was a kind of a developing thing that I went with. I got to remember. I mean, I took Nick Kowalski or whatever his name, the Raiders linebacker at 603. Now I'm regretting that. I really am. I think that I could have probably found a little bit better, maybe player that I could have reached for. I don't know. I guess we are getting thin in the player pool.
Yeah, because
we got Rashaan Evans.
It's 18 per pick. So whatever 6 point whatever times 18 is, that's a decent amount of picks.
But then I turn around and see at 6'9", approximately 5 or 6 after me, Von Bell goes off. So that was me fumbling right there. I mean, I would have rather probably had him over Nick at this point. I don't know. This has been a really eye-opening type of ADP to examine as we have doing this. This is pretty cool. I hope everybody's getting some, type of information out of this. Matt Milano fell. Corey Littleton fell. Those defensive tackle cornerback picks in this first 5 or 6 rounds just really kind of threw a little balance off to what I would normally do,
Mhm.
that I'm used to. But it's all based off this format, which is
Yeah, yeah.
really cool.
So the scarcity, the DT premium made everyone really want to load up there and make sure they got that.
Right.
So what I did was I went for my overall strategy, like as many 3-down linebackers as I could get immediately, as many full-time safeties as I could get immediately. I punted on DE and DT just because I couldn't get the top end guys. So I just wanted something out of those 2 positions per week. And then everything else I'm picking is corner. I'm going to fill
Yeah.
all those flex spots with corners because it's CB premium.
Yeah.
So I've got so many excellent streaming corners here that are going to have big weeks, and that's what happened last year. So I'm leaning into this. I'm really leaning into it, and I think it's going to work out. We'll see.
Yeah, I kind of feel to moving on to my pick, and I don't mean to keep just talking about my picks. I'm just kind of reliving here. I
Mhm.
remember at 7-16 getting Clowney, and I was pleased with that considering what had came off the board before. I think Clowney has a good year this year. I think he bounces back a little bit. I mean, sure, he's not going to be Myles Garrett. He's not going to he's going to be playing the second fiddle and sacks and stuff, but I still feel that's good. I think we could, it's possible we could see 7 or 8 out of Clowney, depending. I would like that to happen because I think he's my second best defensive end on the board in the end.
Yeah,
If I
I'm
remember.
toast. I'm toast on defensive ends, man. Check this out. So I've got Josh Sweat, Justin Houston, and Jerry Hughes, and I'm lining up Steven Means for the next pick here. So
Yeah.
that'll be my 4 defensive ends, and then I
Yeah.
got that's not great. And then I got Grady Jarrett, Shy Tuttle, and Foley Fladokasi is my DT. So I'm just screw it. It's there's nothing I can do about it. They didn't fall to me, so I'm gonna punt. Those 2
Right.
positions out of 11 every week are not going to be great, but the other 9, there'll be enough 3-down linebackers, enough starting safeties, enough corners that have big weeks
Right.
that I'll be strong in those other 9. I'm hoping that's enough to make up for it.
No. Yeah. I'm not sitting. My next pick, I remember I'm looking at my roster now. I got Reader for Cincinnati. He was hot last year when he took over for Akins or Atkins, whatever.
Gino, yeah,
Yeah, Gino. Yeah,
yep,
when he took over for Gino, he was hot there for a little bit. So that was my recovery pick after the New Orleans guy got suspended.
yeah.
And by then, all the DTs were gone. I ended up with uh, Daquan Jones. He's former Denver, going to
Wasn't
Panthers.
wasn't he in Tennessee? Oh, he was in Denver. I could have. Oh, Draymond Jones is Tennessee. Same name, basically.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So, but I'm reaching at this point. So this is best ball, and just to let everybody know the way that these things, it's it's overall, so it's like 1 to 4 defensive tackles can count each week,
Right,
right? Right.
right. So up
So
to 4, yeah.
right. So that's another part of the strategy with it being best ball and that type of thing, with that kind of format lineup. So I'm just hoping that at least one of these defensive tackles will have a good week. Because
Exactly, right.
yeah,
We just need something out of the DEs and the DTs to 5, 10, 15 points, whatever.
register,
Right,
yeah.
register, and then all the other guys that we got can fill up those flex spots and give us a good week.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to tell you my favorite. We're at about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
We're going to be wrapping this up here in a little bit, folks. But I'm going to tell you my sleeper pick. I'm trying to remember when I got him though. I like Jaquan Lewis a lot this year for the Colts. I haven't read any camp notes. I wish I would have this morning.
Yeah.
But where did I get him in? I got him way down there, if I remember right. Shoot, where did I get him? Way down there. What was your favorite? You think is going to be your sneaky pick?
I think my 2 favorite picks. Well, Kyle Van Noy at 18-10, back on the Patriots.
Yeah.
So yes, it's Patriots IDP, so it's going to make me want to blow my brains out more often than not. But
Right.
he will have some big weeks, you know that.
Yeah.
He'll probably get some sacks. He'll probably have some big plays, like at 18-10. So whatever 18 times 18 is, that's a lot of picks down to get
Right.
him. That's a lot. And then getting Kendall Fuller at 20-10, I think was huge too, because that's a top 10 corner right there, as long as he's healthy. And to get him that late, I was super happy with that. What about you?
Well, I was just looking it up here at 6'3", 16'3". I took Tyquan Lewis, which is Indianapolis defensive end. I think he actually finally breaks out this year. He is one of my IDP breakout calls officially that I do each year, and I got him after I started going vanilla because we're talking. That's what I was getting ready. So 16 times 18. We're talking 288 with the 16 round,
Yeah.
288 players. So in that 16th round, I was managed to pick him up. I just kept watching him slide and slide because I know I went vanilla with Von Miller at linebacker right before him, 5 picks in the 15th, and then I kind of felt like that was a steal because I really expect him to do good when Miller in my head is just a guy that I was filling in some roster spots before it was gone.
Mm.
We was getting. I started taking cornerback at 11 with Diggs.
Oh, did you
I,
get Trayvon Diggs?
yeah, I got him in the
Nice,
11th. Yeah, I got him
dude.
in the
Dude,
11th.
I'm telling you. So week 1, Carlton Davis, Trayvon Diggs, Denzel Ward. Those are my 3 favorite. Look at their matchups. So you got
Mhm.
Cowboys, Tampa. That's going to be a shootout. And you got the Chiefs coming to town for Cleveland. I think those 3 corners are going to have massive week 1s.
Yeah,
Massive. Yeah.
cool. I'm glad to hear it. uh, I like Jared Davis. I got him too, but I think my biggest still is probably Lewis. Lewis.
Yeah.
How about one more? You see anybody, or did you get one a late rounder? Say, let's get into the 20s. Let's go late.
Yeah. Okay. I got one for you in the 20s. So Julian Love is a safety at 2309. So Julian Love should never be a starter, but somehow every year, or the last few years, he's managed to get on the field just because that Giants secondary is never fully intact. And the second anything happens to any part of that secondary, Julian Love comes in. So
Yeah.
I'm almost positive I'll get something out of him. And that was him and Quandre Diggs were my late safeties to round that out, make sure I got something. So I was happy with those.
Cool. I went vanilla again. By the time I hit 20, I needed quarterbacks and defensive tackles. So that's pretty much what I have done in this last little bit, starting with pick 20.3 to cornerback. Yeah, okay. But so I'm going to pick mine out of the 19th round. Alex Anzalone up in
Mm-hmm.
Detroit. I
Mm-hmm.
think by the time, because like right before him, I mean we're still talking in the 260th player taken off the board at this point, something like that. You got Raycon Macklin. You got a bunch of no names
Right.
right before I take him off the board. And right now he is running with the first, well, he was reportedly running with the first team defense next to Collins. And I think it's a good value. I can't say he's going to break out. I do think that as long as he enters the season as a starter, people got to remember we're not looking at Patricia's defense anymore, folks. We're going to be looking at a more traditional. They got their own scheme or whatever how they run it, but it's more of a traditional. We should have 2 serviceable linebackers come out of the scheme if we're lucky, or I think we're 50-50 on that. And I think clear down that far, 250th, 260th player, just getting a starter
Yeah.
Other than a cornerback, defensive tackle, or I don't even think there's any defensive tackle starters left at this
Nope.
point. Maybe a
They're
handful.
gone. Yeah.
So to get a starter that late is I screw it. If he is a 2-down guy, if he gets me one game that he counts as one of my highest scoring players, if I get one game out of him this season, I think I came out ahead. Considering it's best ball.
Right.
But, well, this has been really interesting, John. I'm glad you could come on. I like to urge everybody to hit subscribe. I should have said this earlier. Please, hopefully you've read that below. We're giving away some Gridiron Ratings Draft Playbook. Things are a little bit more informal on the IDP dime drop, and I'm glad it was you, John. It was the first guy that I on these particular programs or shows that you was my first guest. That was pretty cool. I liked how this worked out. You can catch me and John again this Thursday together on Thursday night's Getting Defensive podcast, live cast, whatever you want to call it. And we're also going to be live tonight at 10 o'clock. But John, you're not going to be at that one. So you don't need to know about that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks again, man. I appreciate the invite to that league. Great calls. Can't wait till this draft's over. And folks, the next time I got an IDP dime drop to drop, I'll let y'all know. I guess we're saying goodbye, John.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. Pleasure as always. Season's right around the corner, and not our first rodeo. We'll get through it.
Right. We'll talk to you again, folks. See ya.